Emotions can often run very high when you're dealing with gold and silver, whether it be buying, owning, or selling. And in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the fear of missing out and how to deal with everything that's going on in the metals markets at the moment. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Now, what I want to talk about today is partly, I guess, a little bit of mental health awareness and the fact that silver and gold are precious and they have value, but they also come with some emotions attached to them, unlike quite a lot of other things. You know, money in a bank account, of course, has some emotion attached to it, but a lot of what we buy, what we enjoy to buy, whether it be coins, bars, hand-poured silver, whatever it is, we tend to put emotions on it. We're human beings, we naturally do that, whether it's a nice piece of hand-poured silver for a specific occasion or whether it's just something for you that you enjoy, having a stack of silver Britannias. They are more emotional than just money in a bank account. And that does come with quite a lot of stresses and strains, and I do think that with any kind of investing product, whether it be stocks, shares or anything, there's always going to be an element of risk, and people will handle the different levels of risk in different ways. But it is really interesting for me anyway, as a stacker and investor in gold and silver of many different forms, that I constantly get worry and anxiety. I have lived with that for a very long period of my life, but it's amazing just how much it can affect you sometimes. And I want to talk about that in today's video because I think it's a really important topic and one that we all need to be honest about. And I want to share some of my tips and thoughts and opinions on how to best handle those situations with relation to gold and silver. So one of the big things that I think a lot of people are dealing with right now is what is called the fear of missing out. So whether you are a seasoned stacker or new and you've just started seeing all this wonderful stuff about silver, or even gold or both or platinum or whatever metal it might be, there's this phrase, fear of missing out, or FOMO, and people are, it's basically about having regrets. You know, people are wanting to get as much silver as possible at as cheap a price as possible because they have been told or they believe that prices are going to go really very high at some point in the not too distant future. And that, of course, is you know, a good and bad thing. It's good to be able to discover the world of silver, but if you have that fear, if you have that emotion attached to it, that you have to get it right now at whatever price because that's what you think is right, that's potentially going to cause some issues down the line if things don't necessarily go the way you maybe hoped or planned. So there's definitely this kind of fear of missing out culture right now with relating to silver. I think prices generally have still got room to grow. We see some sort of marginal gains this week already, but none of the huge kind of spikes that people have wanted. And that then brings into the kind of second point I want to make, which is about anxiety around the decision that you've made to buy it. And I've said this on the channel a bunch of times before, that buying gold and silver, it shouldn't be a stressful process. It should be a process that you should enjoy. Ultimately, if you're going to invest in anything like stocks and shares or whatever it might be, and you're just putting money in a bank account or numbers on a screen, that's very disconnected. But at least with gold and silver, physical stuff anyway, you can hold it, you can enjoy it. It should be an enjoyable experience. And in my opinion, one of the best ways to make sure that this is an enjoyable experience and not one that you're losing sleep over is to ensure that you're financially secure and responsible before you even get into buying any gold and silver. You've got to have that right mindset on. There are a lot of people out there who do think they can make short-term profits on silver and gold. And in fact, I saw a very interesting post over on the Silver Forum asking whether silver is the biggest con out there. And maybe that's a video topic for its own right, but I do want to touch on it here, that there is, of course, a huge swing on silver compared with, for example, gold. And if you buy silver from dealers, certainly in the UK right now, you'd be paying 27, 28, 29 pounds an ounce, probably more, in fact, with VAT added on top. And of course, their buyback prices are only spot price at best. So there's a, you know, an 8, 9, 10 pound an ounce swing. Now, of course, you could see the metal prices shoot up to 40, 50, 60 pounds an ounce in the next couple of months. And that is fine. It's immaterial. You'll still make a profit. But what if it doesn't? You know, in my opinion, that is probably the biggest stress factor that a lot of people have if they've not got into it for the right thing. So getting into silver for the right reasons is, I think, a really important way to kind of deal with those stresses and strains of of the buying side of things. Now, the owning side of things can cause people quite a lot of stress as well. Now, you'll see here I've got some very, very milky Britannias, and they're not very nice at all. In fact, they are basically destined for the melting pot one day, whether that be my melting pot or whether that be sold to a dealer, and then, the dealer wouldn't be able to sell these on. Maybe they'd sell them on, but whoever got them at the other end would probably be quite upset. So I would imagine that the dealers would just send it off to a local refinery and be done with it. So these are a prime example of silver that I don't worry about, but it is a prime example as well of silver that a lot of other people worry about. They worry about buying a brand new tube of Britannias, leaving it completely unopened from the mint, but then you could get this happening. This sealed, well, I say sealed, it was definitely sealed when it was sent to me, and it has obviously performed rather badly, and it could be down to how I stored it. I don't know. I just had it in the safe for a few months, and this has happened. Maybe it was like that before it happened. So, there's always that element of, oh God, what's going to happen? But for me, it's always about longer term holding, and again, that longer term holding really does play into the kind of emotions and mental health status, I think, of a lot of things. Because if you're worrying, completely obsessing over these things, then it can be quite bad. Anxiety is a really difficult thing to manage, and I have suffered from significant anxiety in the past, and I know for a fact that it is certainly not something that I would wish on anybody at all. And if there are ways that one can look to mitigate those kind of things, then of course it is important to do that. You can look after coins in different ways. You can have them vacuum sealed. You can maybe avoid these kind of coins here and try and get coins which come straight capsulated from the mint. But they come with their own stresses and strains too, because there's no guarantee that these won't tone or spot over time. And that's one thing that you don't really get with gold. Now, there are a few things with gold that you could get copper spots or things like that coming out, but ultimately gold, in my opinion, is the kind of less stressful metal of the two, because it has that security of lower premiums in the buying and selling, and it just generally is more liquid. It doesn't have these milk spotting issues, potential premium ruiners. There's a lot going for gold, and in fact, I should probably get something out of here. A lot of you have been asking and seeing this in my latest videos. This is a gold sovereign that I've inherited, and I'll be talking about this on a video this coming Friday, In Focus Friday. So if you want to know more about this lovely sovereign and how it's come to be in my possession, then make sure you hit that subscribe button if you've not already subscribed. But for me, gold, again, I do think that gold is the less stressful metal of the two. It sounds a bit odd, in certain ways, of course. There are other things that make gold slightly more stressful to own. Of course, it's higher value to individual coin size, and you might misplace it, lose it. It's exactly what happened with this. That's how it's come into my possession. We'll talk more about that on Friday, but my point is that gold is small. It can be misplaced or lost count of, and that's a larger sum of money to lose than a coin this size in silver. Though I think generally speaking, gold, is better. Of course, it's more valuable, so there's worry about it being stolen as well and being targeted for theft and things like that. But I do genuinely think if you're sensible about your security, then that's a secondary point. But security does factor into people's anxiety levels and worry levels as well. I know that there's a lot of people out there who do have sleepless nights about their gold and silver and whether or not it's all safe and secure, and so people will go off and they'll have safety deposit boxes, or they'll not even have physical gold and silver, they'll have paper gold and silver. And I know for me that side of things would cause more anxiety than not. I mean, at least with the silver, I know that this is valuable. I know that it's got value to it, and in the event of a complete financial collapse and meltdown, there's going to be some wealth here locked away. But what really scares me, I think, more than owning physical silver is having stocks and shares at the moment. They go up, they go down massively. And for me, again, it's about longer term perspectives, and that is the important thing. Now, the last point I want to talk about is, again, around fear of missing out. And in this world that we live in now, with the beer flu and everything going on, there are so many challenges to get hold of silver, and to get hold of silver at the right price as well, but also to get hold of the newer releases of silver. There are fewer dealers out there that are consistently getting these items and selling them. They are still available, but there are a lot of people who get this fear of missing out from new releases of whatever coin they might be, and they rush to make decisions because they see a dealer with it and they want to get it so that they can secure it. But then I genuinely have seen a lot of people rush out and buy things from various places where they they could get a better deal elsewhere. It just happens to be the first people that get a coin on the market, and then people get worried. They want to get it. They need to get it. It becomes an obsession, and that is something that people need to understand. That silver and gold can be very addictive in their buying and collecting. Collecting is an addictive style hobby. And for me, I know certainly that I have a very addictive personality, and I enjoy and I love collecting things. And ultimately, they're just things. You need to remember that. The emotions, bringing this all round full circle to get the emotions back into things. If you have a real heavy emotional attachment to something, you might struggle dealing with that in a logical, sensible way. If your targets and goals for owning certain coins or coin designs are to hold them and enjoy them and not worry about them, then that is fantastic, good for you. But if your goals are to collect this as a series, to sell it as a series, to make money on it in the future, then you need to have a level head on these things. You need to understand the limitations that might come, the potential issues that might come from these as well, and make the logical decisions for what is right for you. And that will hopefully mitigate some of those sleepless nights that I know a lot of people have out there when they worry about money and finances, especially in this world that we live in. I think from my perspective, as I said, I do deal with quite a significant amount of anxiety generally in life. Everybody does and handles it in different ways, but everybody has their own different responsibilities for what they need to do in life and how they interact with other people, whether that's customers or however it might be, colleagues, friends, family. And I do genuinely think that it's an important topic to talk about. So for me, I am a big fan of taking a step back and perspective. That is the key thing. If ever I think about something like with these coins here, my thought process was when I looked at the tube and I said, oh, okay, that's a bad tube of coins. You look at it in perspective and you just say to yourself, right, look, that's bad. You can't change what's happened. You've got to understand that. You can never change what's happened. You can learn from what's happened and go forward from there. You can't change what has already happened. Look at it in a different light. Try and rationalize things in a different way. It is so important. And one of the steps to do that for me is, and I know it might sound corny to some of you, but those who are in the know will know what I'm talking about. It's just some mindfulness training. So just take a second to step back. It's like counting to 10. That is mindfulness. You're just taking your attention, your focus off something else that's worrying you, that's concerning you, that's causing anxiety, and just relax. That's what I say. Ultimately, with silver and gold, I have also always been a proponent of basically the longer that you hold these things, the less potential there are for it to go terribly wrong. Of course, nobody really knows the future. And with prices going where people think they might be going, there's always going to be a little bit of anxiety for people to work out when is the right time to sell and when is the right time to go out. Always ask yourself, what are you going to do with the cash if you do sell? What are you going to do with the fiat currency that comes back in? It's a never-ending circle, and I know for a fact that I'll probably be buying silver and gold on a fairly regular basis for probably the rest of my life. It's one of those things that I enjoy doing, and that is an important factor for me, and I think for a lot of other people as well. So that is basically my thoughts on sort of emotions relating to gold and silver. It's one of these weird things that it is very emotive, very emotive, and people have these attachments to their silver and gold. More some than others, and I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments section what you think about the emotions attached to owning gold and silver, to buying gold and silver, and to selling gold and silver. It is, I think, a really important topic and one that I don't think gets talked about enough. And it would be really good to see your thoughts and opinions down below. So please comment if you enjoyed today's video. You know what to do. Put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on the Backyard Bullion channel. And as I said, if you want to see and learn a little bit more about this Shieldback Sovereign, then check out our video coming this Friday. Otherwise, that is it from me. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week ahead, and we'll see you on the next one. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.